Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here this morning. As previously mentioned, I'm Dave Anderson. I'm the U.S. Attorney here in the Northern District of California. Today I'm here to announce charges that an American citizen acted as a secret agent of the People's Republic of China against the United States here in the Northern District of California. I'm going to start by talking about some of the phrases and concepts I'll be using to describe the charges. This case involves the People's Republic of China, which I will sometimes refer to as the PRC. I'll also be referring to the MSS, or the Ministry, by which I mean the Ministry of State Security at the PRC. The MSS is the PRC's preeminent intelligence agency. The MSS collects information that may affect or have value to the PRC. The MSS uses the full array of technological and human assets, including agents, proxies, hackers, and persons known within the business as non-traditional collectors, such as college students or researchers. They use these assets to obtain information unlawfully here in the United States. The MSS conducts clandestine and covert human source operations. The United States is a principal target of the MSS. The MSS undertakes both economic espionage and national security espionage. I will speak about both of these forms of espionage here this morning. The charges announced today specifically pertain to an unlawful scheme by the MSS to use an American citizen to remove classified national security information from the United States to the PRC. The terms tradecraft, espionage tradecraft, and spycraft refer to the tools used by spies and agents to gather and to move intelligence without direction. The charges today rely on a basic element of espionage tradecraft known as a dead drop. A dead drop is a method used to pass money, information between two agents using a predetermined location. A dead drop can be useful because it does not require the agents to meet directly. The anonymity provided by a dead drop can contribute to operational security for the MSS. One of the agents I'll be discussing here today worked as a double agent. I will refer to this double agent as a confidential human source or source. A confidential human source is someone who engages in agent activity while cooperating with law enforcement. An SD card, probably familiar to everyone here in the room, is a secure digital storage device such as this one that I hold here in my hand. An SD card contains flash memory that can store an immense amount of data in a small form. Dead dropping an SD card is a potent combination of age-old spycraft and modern technology. The defendant is charged, in this case, with violating Title 18 United States Code, Section 951. Section 951 was enacted in an overhaul of the United States Criminal Code in June 1948 and amended to its current form in 1983. Section 951 makes it a violation of federal criminal law to operate in the United States as an agent of a foreign power without registration. Section 951 makes it unlawful to act as a secret agent. The charges unsealed today provide a rare glimpse into the efforts of the PRC to obtain classified national security information of the United States. The defendant's name is Chu Hua, also known as Edward Pong. Pong is alleged to be a secret agent of the MSS. Pong is alleged to have delivered classified national security information of the United States, from the United States to the PRC. To most of the world, Pong presented himself as a 56-year-old sightseeing and tour operator living in Haywood, California. He has a registered business operating in the Bay Area. Through this business, he has arranged tours for Chinese tourists and students through a company called US Tour and Travel. The complaint alleges that Pong's activities to expose the United States went far beyond innocent sightseeing. According to the complaint, Pong was a secret agent acting under the direction and control of the MSS. The complaint alleges that Pong worked for the MSS by completing dead drops, delivering payments, and personally carrying classified national security information from the United States to the PRC. In March 2015, the United States employed a double agent who met with MSS officers in the PRC. The MSS officers instructed the double agent how to provide classified information to Pong and how to receive payments from him using SD cards and dead drops. A hotel in Newark, California was used to test the process. Subsequent dead drops occurred here in the Northern District of California and elsewhere. There are 6 dead drops in total that are alleged in the complaint. During these dead drops, Pong would rent and then occupy a hotel room, tape an envelope containing cash to the underside of a dresser drawer in the hotel room, and then leave the room key at the front desk. The double agent would retrieve the key, retrieve the cash, and tape the SD card to the same place where the money had been left. Then later, Pong would return to the hotel room and recover the SD card. The dead drops occurred here in the Northern District of California and also in Columbus, Georgia. The cash contained envelopes in the amounts of $10,000 and $20,000 at a time. The cash represented payments to the double agent for the national security information that appeared on the SD cards. The precise information conveyed was cleared and controlled by the United States for passage to the PRC. Once Pong retrieved the SD card left for him by the double agent, he flew to Beijing, China to meet with his MS handlers and to deliver the classified information. A complaint contains allegations only, and every defendant is entitled to a presumption that they are innocent unless or until they are proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Pong was arrested at his residence in Hayward on Friday, September 27th, and made his initial appearance in federal court in San Francisco before U.S. Chief Magistrate Judge Joseph C. Spiro. Pong's next appearance is scheduled to be on Wednesday, October 2nd at 10:30 a.m. before Magistrate Judge Jacqueline Corley here at 450 Golden Gate Avenue, 15th floor. That hearing is scheduled for a detention hearing and an identification of counsel. Safeguarding classified information or state secrets is vital to our national security. Attempts by foreign governments to evade the substantial protections we place on classified information puts our strategic national interests at risk. Today's charging announcement also provides an opportunity to speak more broadly about the DOJ's China Initiative. The China Initiative is directed at the economic espionage of the PRC. The PRC is stealing from our free society what they cannot create for their own people within a tightly controlled communist dictatorship. About 80% of all economic espionage prosecutions brought by the Department of Justice have implicated the PRC. Along with documents relating to the case being announced today, there will be a fact sheet describing the Department of Justice's China Initiative. The Northern District of California is ground zero for a largely secret battle between PRC-controlled spies and thieves and the U.S. intelligence and law enforcement communities that are tasked with protecting our people, our ideas, and our national defense. The complaint unsealed today illustrates two different choices in the face of seemingly similar circumstances. One choice is exemplified by the person identified as the confidential human source. The confidential human source was engaged by the MSS as part of the MSS's broad effort to obtain classified national security information. The confidential human source made the right choice. The confidential human source chose to report the MSS's engagement of him to the FBI and chose to cooperate in this criminal investigation. As alleged in the complaint, the defendant in this case made the wrong choice. The defendant chose to work as a secret agent for the MSS's spy network. The defendant, Pong, now faces a maximum sentence of 10 years imprisonment and a fine of $250,000 for the violation of 18 United States Code Section 951. Of course, any sentence following conviction would be imposed by the court after consideration of the U.S. sentencing guidelines and the federal statute governing the imposition of a sentence, Title 18 United States Code Section 3553. With those opening remarks, I'd like to invite Jack Bennett, Special Agent in charge of the FBI, to the podium to also say a few words about this case, and then I'll be happy to take your questions, and Jack will as well. Thank you.
Dave. I want to thank you for being here today for this very important announcement. This case is a result of a multi-year FBI investigation conducted by the San Francisco Field Division and our counterintelligence branch. I want to take a moment to detail the case against Mr. Pong and why it's so significant. But first, I'd like to thank the U.S. Attorney's Office, the line prosecutors, and the agents that worked this case for their tireless efforts to make sure that this case was brought to justice in an appropriate way. These are very rare that we talk about these, so this we'll talk about. It is important to understand that we believe Edward Peng, who is a U.S. citizen living in the United States, has been knowingly working as a courier for the Chinese government. In this role, Peng has engaged in several clandestine operations to facilitate the delivery of information from the United States to the MSS intelligence officers in China. This information included classified information. The investigation into Peng involved both physical, electronic surveillance, and human source information. Through these methods, we were able to detect, observe, and conduct several dead drop surveillances, which is a traditional method of spycraft used to pass information between two individuals using a secret location. In one instance, Peng was observed leaving large sums of money in a hotel room dresser drawer and removing a hidden disk from the dresser, which contained information intended for the Chinese government. We have evidence that Peng would then carry the information back to China and deliver it to Chinese intelligence officers. Peng can be seen conducting this activity on the video that will be handed out later on footage 2A and 2B. The 951 charge is rarely prosecuted. It is a difficult prosecution, but necessary in this case to hold Peng accountable for his actions. These actions were taken under the direction of the People's Republic of China and their intelligence services. While the FBI continuously combats the threat for foreign adversaries, there's no country that presents a broader, more comprehensive threat to the United States. Our sensitive information, our ideas, our innovations, our economic security in China. It is a multifaceted threat and is the FBI's top counterintelligence priority. Chinese intelligence collection uses a wide variety of methods to target the United States, and it's happening all around us. Chinese intelligence officers recruit individuals who have access to information they want. The Bay Area with Silicon Valley in our backyard is a target-rich environment for them. In order to secretly obtain U.S. intelligence and policy information, the Chinese government frequently preys upon individuals in communities, many times ethnic Chinese communities, who they specifically target because China feels that they have leverage over them. It is the FBI's responsibility to protect Americans, all Americans, against this type of undue influence. However, in this case, Peng willingly partnered with the Chinese government to help them get the information that they wanted. China is pervasive and organized in their efforts to fulfill their top priority of collecting information that gives their country an economic advantage over the United States. Putting an end to Peng's actions are important and a significant step in dismantling China's overall efforts against our country. Our message today is clear. The FBI, along with their intelligence partners, will pursue foreign adversaries and anyone who assists them, regardless of their level of involvement. Handcuffs, transparent prosecutions, and prison are the new reality for those who engage in this behavior. Thank you very much. David?
Thank you, Jack.
Sir.
Also want to thank you, Joe, Ben, John, Colin. Thank you so much for your good work. I'm happy to take questions.
You said Mr. Peng operated a tour guide business. What kind of information did he have access to, and what kind of information was he passing along?
So the information as alleged in the complaint that he was passing along came from the person who's identified as the confidential human source. So Peng acted as a transmitter of the money and of the information, as opposed to extracting the information, say, from his legitimate businesses.
What kind of information was it?
I was going to ask you knew what the information was. It wasn't actually information that the U.S. thought was truly secret.
So it is, as alleged in the complaint, classified national security information. It is that. And it is also true, and I think this is really going to the question here, the information that was allowed to be passed by the confidential human source was information that was cleared and controlled by the United States for passes to the PRC. So it's both classified information and information that's cleared for this purpose.
You don't have evidence that he passed along information that the U.S. government did not know about.
The allegations of the complaint, and I'll frame my answer in terms of the allegations of the complaint. The allegations of the complaint focus on these 6 dead drops, focus on the interactions with this particular source, and those allegations focus on information that, as I said, was cleared for conveyance to the PRC. And that's as broadly as I'll speak within the footprint of the complaint.
Thanks.
Janie Har, AP, I'm sorry.
Ann Makovic, KPIX. What kind of information are we talking about?
So this is defined in the complaint as classified national security information. And although I surely anticipated that I'd be getting questions along these lines, I don't have further information to share with you about the nature of the information. Classified national security information is as far as the complaint goes and as far as I am at liberty to go in describing what was conveyed.
Janie Har, AP. So do you know how long he'd been operating before he got involved with your double agent?
The events described in the complaint commenced in March 2015. And again, my comments here are focused on the allegations of the complaint. So I don't have a broader course of conduct to describe to you.
Obviously, you can't get into the specifics, but what kinds of technological information would be considered in the category of classified? I mean, we're talking about Silicon Valley. Can you share anything that would illuminate that?
I think probably the best I can do to be responsive to that question is to say that of the different types of information that we see in espionage cases, there's 2 broad categories. There's economic espionage, and national security espionage. And in the China Initiative fact sheet that is available at the end of the press conference, you'll see in there listings of cases that pertain to economic espionage cases that have been brought throughout the country by the DOJ. This case pertains to national security information. So just talking broadly about the different types of information, two broad categories, and again, I'm at the limit of what I can describe in terms of any further specificity.
Were there other employees with the travel company that were either not involved or that were assisting in the investigation?
Today, we're announcing charges only against the defendant, Edward Pong, and in keeping with longstanding DOJ policy, I'll not be offering comment on anyone who's not charged.
Hi, Kate Paul from Reuters. Were there any companies involved, either in the investigation or, is there some connection to Silicon Valley in this? Not necessarily in the charges, but any companies that you can name that have some involvement with?
I don't think so, not in the way in which I believe you intend your question. There are the hotels that are involved, but are not further identified in the complaint. One of the things that's attached to the complaint is video of one of the dead drops. And a portion of that video will be available today at the end of the press conference.
Can you tell us anything about Mr. Pong's background? Is he from China? How do you recruit? Anything other than the fact that he ran this business?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Gelko. Mr. Pong is a United States citizen. He lives in Hayward, California. He's 56 years old. He first entered the United States in June of 2001. He became a lawful permanent resident in 2006, February 2006, and he naturalized as a United States citizen in September 2012. You'll see further particulars with regard to that information in paragraph 9 of the complaint affidavit that's unsealed today.
You mentioned yourself, sir, these are fairly unusual news conferences when you decide to make this sort of information public. We are in the middle of a pretty highly publicized trade war with China, and you also mentioned the efforts to specifically target those kinds of crimes. Can you give us any education on what went into the decision to make this one public?
I can't, and I wonder, Jack, if you have anything you want to add. I believe the particular comment that you're describing is one that Jack made, and happy to offer Jack an opportunity to follow up.
Sure, that is not a calculus that we plan. We don't care about what the politics here. We have criminals and spies that are running around our area of responsibility, and it is the FBI's mission to stop this. So what's going on in the rest of the world, it doesn't matter to us. We will prosecute those individuals that we feel are violating federal law. Okay.
Can you describe again how this came to your attention? This was an anonymous source or somebody that you had sent in to find out about it?
So you'll see what background I can provide to you on that in the complaint. And what's described there, as you'll see, is that the source was engaged by the MSS in China, and that the source reported that engagement to the FBI. This is as alleged in the complaint, and then from that, and then as described in the complaint, worked secretly with the FBI throughout the course of events that have been described in the complaint.
Is the source then Chinese?
I don't have any further information to give you about the source.
But that person is not in trouble or has not been charged in it?
The source is most certainly not charged in the complaint that's unsealed today. One more, yeah. Okay, yes, one more.
Just the relationship again between the source and Japan. Did the source, who contacted who first?
So as you'll see in the complaint, the way that the dead drop system works is that neither party to the dead drop meets the other. So they're kept in their own silos, so to speak. And both of them receive instructions directly back from the MSS. So the MSS, and this is alleged in the complaint, would direct them towards a dead drop. And each part in this dead drop would be separately choreographed by the MSS so as to link up in this way that's described in the complaint. So Pong would arrive at the hotel, rent the room, go to the room, take out the cash, tape it using blue contractor's tape, tape it to the underside of a dresser drawer, then leave the room, leave the key, go away, and then at a predetermined time, then the source would arrive and exchange the cash and the SD card, and take the SD card to the location where the cash had been left. And then he would leave, and then again separately, then Pong would come through and collect the SD card. So these are sort of matching halves to the overall course of conduct, and each of those halves was separately directed by the MSS. So the way this works, and the reason that the dead drop contributes to operational security, is that those two people participating in the dead drop don't have a relationship, to go back to your original question, don't have contact with one another. Thank you all so much. Thank you for coming here today. And Cameron, I'll turn it back over to you.